Thorsten, thank you very much for talking to us today. I know it's late over there. Are you just finishing up a show or a session today?
So today just studio work. So we are working on the new album since I think 1.5 year, and our deadline is in May. So it's going to be released in September because of all the vinyl pressing companies there. In this time, then they need like 3 or 4 months, and so the new album will be released in September. And yeah, we're working quite hard on it to finish it.
Yeah, that was going to be my first question. What is this? Can you tell us anything about? I know you don't want to give it away, but what can you tell us about the new record?
Um, it's also a mixture of compositions, and it's more composition than sessions this time. So as we recorded Brown, it was by the pandemic, and we had just 1.5 year without interruptions in the studio, and kind of, yeah, had the opportunity to focus on every single detail. But it was, and three people in the same room for 1.5 year.
Right.
Um, this year, this time where we are composing some elements at home, in home studios, and then meet here, and yeah, and try to form it, and changing structures, finding melodies, and it's sequencer based for sure, and we try to find some chord progressions that are not so overused. I know probably there's no chance to get a new chord progression, or, but in the not so overused melodies and chord progressions, and some new sounds, and trying also to use different instruments that we only have in the studio, not live. So more ARPs, like the 2600, the Odysseys, and things like that.
And is it too early to say how many tracks will feature collaborations with Edgar, or is that something you want to keep to be a surprise?
Yeah, there's some melodies from Edgar, and also some sequences. I think it's like three or four tracks, but a track is normally 50 minutes in our world, so it's not
Right.
so many tracks in one album.
Um, and I'm going to jump around a lot. I've been really enjoying the Phaedra at Barbican release. That's been on my turntable pretty much nonstop since I got it. And I love the way the new tracks and the older tracks, it seems they just fit together really well. And I wanted to ask, do you know or can you say what will be the next Tangerine Dream album to receive the deluxe treatment like Rubicon? We just got the box set of that. Do you know what will be the next one?
So 50 years, Rubicon and Ricochet would have been last year.
Right.
So we recorded the Phaedra and Barbican in October 2024. But we already played Stratosphere 50 years show in Tromsø in Norway. We had a Scandinavian tour with Sweden and Norway in early February. And yeah, and we recorded the whole album new, and in a good word, there will be also more 50 years of Stratosphere shows this year. So probably it's Stratosphere, yeah, 50 years Stratosphere and the new album this year. But there will be a record store release as well in April, with new re-recordings of our GTA 5 tracks, happy endings. So I read today that maybe there's a print error on the cover, so maybe it's only happy ending. So the S is missing on the cover.
It'll make it more
And
valuable. Yeah.
yeah, and the navigation system music from the game, it's called Los Santos City Map. So every time you press pause and use the navigation system inside the game, it's that track. And the B-side is a 12-inch, is a new version of Love and Really Train. and this is released going to be released in April, I think 12th. I'm not sure. The record store day.
Yeah,
This is
a friend of mine, we drove to Asheville to see you at the Orange Peel a couple of years ago,
Mhm.
and that was our first introduction to Los Santos City Map, and I love the version on the new live album at the Barbican. Um, I know you guys are touring a lot in Europe right now. Do you foresee coming back to like the southern United States anytime in the future, or is touring just too hard to predict right now?
there is a fixed concert in August, and we are just talking about a tour for end of the year. Um, this time more shows than last time. So if it happens, so sometimes it's not easy. Um, it's going to be a very long tour.
And
More than
that would be in the southern United States as well.
yes.
Oh, that would be great. Um, I'm trying to ask you things I haven't seen other people ask you 30 times so you don't get bored with doing this. Um, is there any plans to release that project, the Tangerine Dream project with that Timothy Leary was involved in? I watched a documentary and I saw the guy at Connie Plank Studio playing you guys the tapes. Is there enough there for a release or for it to be a bonus track on something?
Um, yes, it's called Alarm. Um, in that days, it wasn't always easy to spot who was in the room.
Right.
So, so and that could be a problem. So Dieter Dirks showed us many tapes from the times, and there obviously was Edgar sometimes playing, and um, Franke was playing Tom's drums and things like that. Um, but there was sometimes they were just not random, but maybe on the same day were people from Ashra in the same room. So um, it has to figure out who was actually really playing what.
Ah,
To claim all copyrights and clear all copyrights for that.
right. Okay. Is there enough there for a full record, or do you even know how much material? Is it like a 41 session or several?
I heard, I think, like two tracks around 20 minutes a track. So
Oh,
it
that's perfect.
would be one vinyl.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
I wanted to, another recent project of yours, Bioscope. That's been a really great record to listen to.
Thank you.
And I love the combination of electronic music with a live drummer. I think The Who, as far as rock bands, The Who did a really good job of that with like Bob O'Reilly and some of
Mhm.
Townsend's stuff for Quadrophenia. I have a project called Electric Forgiveness that's like chaoscillators and stuff, but with a live drummer. Do you foresee Bioscope as being something that will continue, or is it just trying to get schedules worked out?
So there are plans, but for 27. So the problem, where very first were a problem, but there are still problems, to find time frames and windows inside our touring sketches. So it's in, and even the drummer is probably in the biggest band of us. So he is playing with Elbow, which is
Right.
huge in UK, maybe twice as Meridian or Tangerine Dream. And we have to find space and windows to meet in the same room, rehearse, and I think the next time frame is around March 27.
Yeah, our
What
lead sing in my band Third of Never, our lead singer is Doug McMillan from the Connells. They had a big hit in Germany with 74, 75.
Yeah, I know them. Yeah.
And of course, they're 1,000 times bigger than we are. So basically, our touring is, and our live shows are, whenever they're not doing anything, that's when we can be active. So, but
Hmm.
that's a good problem to have. Um, I was going to ask you about two old Tangerine Dream albums. One is my favorite, and then the friend of mine who helped me interview you in Asheville a few years ago. I'm going to ask you about his favorite album. My favorite, well, I'm not going to say favorite because actually I've listened to Rom more than any of the others over the last couple of years. But as far as the old stuff, I'm a big fan of Zeit. Or
Yes.
is that the correct pronunciation? Is it Zeit?
It's more sharp, It would be Zeit,
So,
but yeah, but it's very close. Yeah,
and his favorite album of the old stuff is Underwater Sunlight. Just your general impressions of those two albums because they're radically different.
absolutely. So this is so when you're playing with Tangerine Dream, you're getting used to people saying this isn't Tangerine Dream anymore, and it starts in the 70s and 74. So my one of my favorite band, Sigur Rós, said this about Fedra. They loved Tangerine Dream with Alpha Centauri and Sight till the sequencers came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Sight is like the blue for me the blueprint of ambient music, and it's very Sigur Rós esque in a kind of post rocky way,
Yeah.
because of the drawbar organ treatments, and it's my favorite album. It's hard, yeah, as you said. So it's I really also love Ricochet and Fedra, but Sight is it's an unbelievably great album. We never played that or a track from that album, and maybe we will never play a track from that album because I think the music on that album was never intended to be recreated on stage. So
Right.
even Edgar never did that in early 70s. And it would be kind of awkward to have some guide clicks on the headphones saying the next ping is in 5.5 bars.
Right. Be a little
And
hard to do.
so maybe it would be to recreate the atmosphere and maybe the idea behind the music instead of playing it note by note. I think it was very special. What was also with yeah, Baumann was and Steve Schroeder was that too.
Yeah.
He's a great guy, and yeah, it's ambient needs post rock before. You can't say post rock for things in the 70s. I know that's both post.
Pre-rock. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, pre. Um, yeah, it's very intensive, and it's maybe the product of exact the moments is set in the studio and create that music out of the moment.
It almost reminds me a little, not in the sound, but the way, the approach that Paul Horn took on that album Inside, where he just recorded his flute in the Taj Mahal.
Mm.
He couldn't recreate that. That was just lightning in a bottle.
Yep.
And like, but Underwater Sunlight is almost like it's a totally different band. I know you guys occasionally will play a track from that. What are your impressions of that record?
Um, that was first with Per Hustlinger, and for strange reasons he wasn't credited.
Really?
But yes,
Hmm.
it's credited Franke Fröse. Um, by composing, not playing, but was composed by Franke Fröse. But um, especially the piano intro of Dust from Dawn to Dusk. It's so Paul Hustlinger,
Mhm.
and instead of other albums from that area, it feels still fresh, and that's not easy. So in that time, all the new synthesizers were invented, the digital ones like M1, D50, DX7, and the first idea of digital synths, and it felt very fresh and at least totally different to all the analog synthesizers from the years before. So it sometimes was hard to curate the sounds. Um, and most of the 90s for me feels kind of dated, because the sounds were fresh in the moment they were played, but not for me 10, 15 years after. But on Underwater Sunlight, some things were strangely funky. I had to replay that on stage, so I never was a kind of soul funk guy, but I had to yeah, rehearse, especially the Paul Hustlinger funk left hand on
Right.
some tracks like Right on the Ray. Yeah, great album, great melodies, really good guitar work. I think because it was no noodling, it was not so bluesy, it was very clear melodies on top of things and good chords.
And I wanted to ask, Edgar's wife has been a great cheerleader for keeping his legacy alive and keeping Tangerine Dream alive. Is she pretty much the band's manager? Do you guys do that together? What's the relationship between her and the band? I'm assuming she's very enthusiastic about all of it.
Yeah, she's the main part of the management. We have also bookers, we have booking agencies, we have tour managements. Yeah, but yeah, she we talk about things like tours, and it's always great if when she visited us at some concerts.
And I found a video on YouTube a few weeks ago of you, and I believe it was Paul, playing. It looked like you were doing a sound check or something at an outdoor festival. I'm assuming it was in Germany. I'm not sure. And at one point, a couple of points, you picked up a guitar and played a little bit. I think it was a Fender Starcaster. Is that the name of that guitar?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I've never seen. I've got Rickenbackers and I've got a Strat but I've in an SG. I've never seen a Fender Starcaster in my life. Is there a story behind that guitar? And do you think you'll be playing any guitar on any future releases?
Not on the next album, I guess. So, but I think the last time I played on Quantum Gate,
Hmm.
and also electric bass. So I like, but so my guitar playing is totally different. So so I'm not. I think I never bended a note because I'm more kind of my musical socialization is more The Edge, more Robert Smith, The Cure, more Sigur Rós, Godspeed Your Black Emperor, Mogwai. And I really love the Starcaster because semi-acoustic and with a black hat plate.
Right.
And it looks like the Cure guitar, and I think on the last tour I had the Starcaster and the normal Stratocaster, but the Ed O'Brien Radiohead signature,
Mhm.
where on the first pickup is a Sustainiac, and yeah, there's more effect and EBow playing and many delays and big reverb shimmer things. Yeah, so I'm not so into soloing on
Right.
guitar.
Obviously, you're dealing with music pretty much every day. If you want to listen to music recreationally that has nothing to do with your job, what's something you would go to recently to listen to?
Um, Folk, I love Nick Drake. Um, New folk singers, Ben Kaplan he's a Canadian singer, unbelievably good. And I hear things like Scott Walker, Tom Waits, Scott Walker mostly the first four, and then when the band came in, and some old prog rock, Genesis, Cure, Gothic, but mostly in the last time, yeah, post rock and folk. If Nick Drake is folk, or even Leonard Cohen is just unbelievably great. And before concerts, we all it's 1 hour before the concert is always Sinatra in the Wee Small Hours. It's my
Oh
favorite
my.
album.
Cool.
Just 1 hour. This is the most gaining contrasts to everything that happens after after on stage, but backstage is always Sinatra.
Well, that was a concept record. I mean,
Yeah, maybe the first concept record.
it was definitely the first one that I did a podcast with a writer named Bill Kopp a few months ago, and he's written a book of the great concept records and stuff. And I brought up, as far as I know, that's one of as far as mainstream releases, that may be the first concept record.
Mhm.
So,
Yep.
but I'm really looking forward to the new studio record. Rom and Quantum Gate were fantastic. I had to drive all night getting back from somewhere about a month ago, and I put Rom on, and I got all the way. By the time I pulled into my driveway, it was coming up to the last 3 minutes. So it's a great record. And do you have anything coming up that's not Tangerine Dream and it's not Bioscope? I mean, that would be enough. Do you have anything else coming out?
So I just recorded an album with a post metalcore band
Mhm.
called Ocean Collective, and one of I worked with one of my favorite singers, Ben Kaplan, on two tracks. But they
Wow.
aren't. So I'm not sure when they're going to be released. But, we met in Berlin. We played a small concert here, and we tried to morph our musical worlds, which is not so easy, but it worked quite well to have all the sequence and the modular stuff and his very a little bit Tom Waits-esque voice on top of it.